Hey guys, remember to like, comment, and subscribe to get a great discussion on gaming and all that surrounded. Now, on to today's topic. Nintendo plans to release 20 to 30 games a week on the eShop. And this comes from indie developers, of course. Nintendo does not have the manpower to make 30 games a week by themselves. But this is an interesting, not only article, but whole concept. Now, the idea of them trying to release 20 to 30 games a week, when I first heard it, sounds a little, is crazy, because that's a lot of games. And, the first thought is that this is a good idea, awesome. I want more games. That more games is awesome. And Nintendo having the confidence to, proclaim that they're going to release 20 to 30 games per week on the eShop is, I think is amazing. Now, once you think about it, there's a few holes in this whole plan that they want to do, and that involves a couple things. One, though it may be great that you're releasing 20, 30 games a week, that's a lot of games. That's the downside. It's a lot of games, and that means that all those gems, all those great games that get released, get buried. That's going to be the problem. And I don't know how anyone else feels. I'm not much of an indie guy. I don't like I'm not much of an indie guy myself. I don't like too many indie games, but I do appreciate them and I understand what they're there for, and I'm happy that there are a lot of indie games. But the problem comes is when you're releasing that many, it's easy to get lost in there, and that's a problem, especially when Nintendo themselves is also releasing games. Of course, they can't keep up with that kind of track, but something like a Kirby releasing that week or that day, or a Zelda or Mario game. Mario Tennis just came out a couple days, a few weeks ago, right? Jeez, I'm forgetting when it came out. Mario Tennis came out just a little while ago. What was the other game? Wolfenstein. I believe Wolfenstein came out, correct? So Wolfenstein came out. All these other games. They're gonna bury these other smaller games, no matter what. And it's that becomes a bit of a problem, right? Indie games do tend to sell well. The article I read, some of them, released on the eShop, have gone on to become million sellers. So there's profit there to be made. The problem comes when you're releasing that many a week. And, of course, that doesn't mean something like, we're going to spread it out, it'll be fine. No, that means that we're going to try and, just release whenever we can get it. So Monday you can have 10 games. The rest of the week have, nothing until, the end of the week, and releases the other 10, 20. So all that kept in mind, that's just it's kind of a mountain to go up against, and I don't know how well indie games will do with that kind of pace, but to be on a positive note, this is a good thing, and Nintendo's getting more games. Now I believe the man's name that announced this was Susumu Tanaka, and that's Nintendo's chief of publications. So he was the one that was talking about this, and they were talking about how they were working with indie developers during the Wii U generation, and I can imagine they really don't want to talk about the Wii U, but that's one of the few things that good came out of the Wii U. Nintendo made great games in the Wii U, and they still hold up very well today. But one good thing that they really did was to improve relations with indie developers. And if you guys remember, during the Wii U generation, there were a good number of indie games being released on the Wii U, and that meant that ever since then they have been pursuing more and more indie developers, getting even better relationships with them. If you remember, Shantae was pretty hyped up during the Wii U generation. Shovel Knight was as well, and a couple others, and that was also in the 3DS too. And because of that, we have this whole, this bombardment of indie games on the Switch now. And if you guys turn on your Switch, every time you go in there, there's something new. So it's an interesting kind of dynamic that we have going on now with Nintendo and indie developers, because I don't know how the other systems are doing in terms of indie developers. I mean, I know they sell well there, but it seems Nintendo's really pushing all types of games on their system, and this is probably due to this is also probably due to the droughts that they had during the Wii U generation. I mean, it's almost a 180, right? Like it's just completely different now than it was in the Wii U generation. So, with that said, I think this is an interesting kind of plan that they're going with. And I don't know what the future holds for this, because they're gonna have to balance it right. Because just because you have a couple of gems in there doesn't mean that they're all really great. And in the article, he kind of alludes to that some of the games have released have become million sellers worldwide. I mean, he kind of says, he says himself, some of them become million sellers. Not all of them are that great. I don't remember the name of that indie game that was on the Switch, but it has that actress that's it's just pictures, and you do this weird call thing. You call the girl there. She talks. It's all in Japanese, and for the life of me, I cannot remember the name of the game, but it was on the Switch for a while. I mean, I noticed it. I go on there. I noticed it. I was like, what the hell is this? And it's shitty. I had to watch a playthrough of it on YouTube, whatever. And it's just not worth. It's not worth anything. It's not worth paying for that, in my personal opinion. I mean, it's not even really translated right, but that's the type of games that can go on the Switch and have been going on the Switch. I think that's a bad example. I don't know how about the rest of them. I don't know if there's a quality check with those games. But from what I saw with that shouldn't have been allowed on that eShop. Now, and with that, I mean, that means just anything can go on there, And so, I guess what I'm trying to say is that this kind of reminds me of Steam, and Steam has a lot of games put on their service, but it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff, and a lot of them are good, but a lot of them can be bad, and it seems like the Switch is going in that direction. And I guess this is just I think this would be ramified with rectified with Nintendo having some kind of something to just like weed out the crap from the other shit, because I don't think there's a rating system. I don't think there's like thumbs ups. I don't know how they would do that on the Switch with the eShop. I mean, but they need to do something so that you can tell what's good. They have their bestseller list and the deal list and stuff like that. I mean, they should have expand that to top 40 bestsellers or something like that. Just because of the sheer number of games that come out are going to come out every week. And there's a lot of good stuff coming out too. I mean, I won't deny that. Skullgirls got announced for the Switch, which is awesome. It was one of my favorite games. It's a very fun fighting game from a while ago. And if you can pick it up, pick it up on the Switch. I think that indie developer deserves some credit, because that's a really good game. And they're making a new game. I think it involves a character named Ajna. I forgot the name of it. Indivisible. That's the name of it. Indivisible, and it looks pretty cool. It's an RPG. It looks really cool. But those games are coming out. And all other types of stuff is coming out. So, with all that said, I think this is a good. I don't know yet. I don't know if this is a good or bad idea with them releasing so many every week. But we're gonna have to wait and see. But I think it's this is gonna be interesting, because I think that they're really trying to combat the Wii U era of having droughts so much. But I don't know if they're going. I don't know if they're going too far, and how that will pan out. So, tell me what you guys think. This is going to be, pretty interesting, how things are going to turn out for the next couple weeks or months or whatever, especially during the holiday season. See how well the Switch sells and whatnot. But with that said, I'll see you guys later. Bye.